Good day and compliment there, esteemed viewer, and welcome to our today's edition of the hermeneutics of culture, religion, and politics. In our today's edition, we are going to look at politics of democracy in Nigeria. With me here in the studio to get the I's and T's dotted and crossed vis-a-vis provision of answers to all the equation is a respected authority in Western and African metaphysics, the man who is nursing or seriously working towards actualizing an Igbo University as well as Jesus Christ University, a polyglot, a divine mystic, the spiritual director and father-founder of COMMUNIO SANCTORUM Ministries International, the director of the Directorate, Igbo Village and Center for African Civilization, Catholic priest of Onitsha Archdiocese, a respected philosopher, many years HOD in philosophy, UNIZIC. I am talking about no other person than very Reverend Father Professor Bonakrisu Sumogo, Mona Mado, and Kumen fame of instant miracles. Father, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome, there esteemed viewer, and welcome to the business of the day. We are going to look at Politricks in democracy. Is democracy in Nigeria going the way it should be? We borrowed this thing from United States of America. Are we actually practicing democracy? And that is why Father Bona is here. We may not even finish it today. So, Father, let's just get started. I want you to tell us in a very beautiful way what democracy is by way of definition.
Thank you very much. Democracy is a system of government by the whole people, or at least the eligible members of the state, through an election that brings in officials that will represent the people in the government. If you go to the etymological analysis, you go to the Greek word like demos, people, and the roots like kratos and the kratis. We're talking about rule or the power to rule. So democracy has to do with the people controlling their affairs through election in a kind of sovereign popularity, sovereign popular way. The people, they come together and through the power of their votes, elect a representative or so many representatives. So it's a system of government that will surely give a people the leader or leaders they deserve. But the problem now will be whether actually democracy can give the people the leader or leaders they deserve. And that's why you bring in the word politricks, because a trick has to do with a scheme or a plan intended to deceive a people or to make out an undue advantage of the same people, so that instead of what you call organized control of the affairs of the people, organized control and all management of men and resources in the society, we are now talking about tricks that through so many things like nepotism, tribalism and all that, corruptions and things like that, will make even the leaders have an undue advantage. So you see, we are now talking about a system whereby a people can now elect their dictators. That's the paradox of democracy, especially in Nigeria. You remember that in Nigeria, our system of democracy has this trilogical character, there is what we call the federal representation, which operates in terms of the federal, the state, the local governments, and other units. And the three arms, the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary, where the executive definitely is the arm, where the president, like you talk about presidential democracy, where the president rules. But you see, somehow, somewhere, these things are mixed up, that somebody can go from one power to the other arm.
That's a violation of the separation of power.
That kind of thing.
So that's a very good one from Professor Bonacristus. And you mentioned Greece. I don't know. Does it actually mean that democracy started from Greece?
Yes, yes and no. Like when you talked about the issue of the thing coming from America. No, the root is from Greece.
Okay.
That's why democracy speaks Greek.
Okay.
Demos, kratos. Demos people, kratos has to do with power, kratis, rule, a kind of jam up of rule and the power that represents the people, either directly or indirectly. For instance, if you go among the Greeks, you talk more of aristocracy and things like that, you see, they never practiced pure democracy. We can say that in recent days, the various countries of the world now are trying to organize a more refined practice of democracy. But in terms of the word itself, democracy speaks Greek.
Okay.
We got it from Greece.
And then we have to take the first message from the sponsor of the program.
Ekele dịrị gị onye na nwa na mmụọ nsọ maka ọrụ ebube dị egwu unu ji fada prọfesọ Bonacristus Ụmụọgụ alụọ atọ n'otu Chukwu mgba akwụkwọ na-atọ ike siri na mmadụ siri na mmụọ ngị bụ ọnụ na ọbada Bona ji aga ngị mere ya mmụọ na mmadụ oje na mmadụ oje na mmụọ ngị mere ya obi na mmụọ daalụọ.
Chineke, welcome to 1 week crown of 12 Stars Christmas Crusade and the 31st December Vigil of Sufficient Grace in the new year 2019. Themed Miraculous.
Well, for our viewer there who may want to call and make contribution or ask questions, the numbers are 070-627-24192. I repeat again, 070-627-24192. The other one is 090-729-72090. I repeat again, 090-729-72090. The topic is Politricks of democracy in Nigeria. Let's just get this caller. Hello? Hello? Tune down the volume of your TV set. Tune down the volume of your TV set. So, Father, we are from the definition, there's something you mentioned along the line, but now, can you just tell us how democratic is Nigerian democracy? You mentioned democratic or something of that nature, something that is between the people and those that will come in to govern them.
Democracy.
Now, yeah. How democratic is Nigerian democracy? Going by its full and real meaning.
I have made it very clear that in democracy, the rights of the people are equal. There will be no discrimination at all. People are equal before the law. That's why every democracy has to do with constitution. There must be obedience to the constitution. And no one is above the law. That's why you apply checks and balances that can help the three arms of the government to work together in unity.
Yeah. Can we get this caller?
So that the issue of race, color, religion, or anything.
Let's get this caller. Hello? It's off. It's off.
We need really to explain certain things before people can ask the question.
Okay.
So I'm saying that in democracy, there is what you call the issue of equality of rights based and enshrined in the Constitution. And no one is above the law in democracy.
Yeah.
There will be no discrimination at all, either based on race or color or religion or any other affiliation. There will be no nepotism, there will be no tribalism, there will be no sectionalism. So democracy is a very wonderful system of government when it is democratic. Before I go into that question, I must show you the paradox in democracy. There's this paradox that the people cannot rule. That's why I said democracy is either direct or indirect, or they may call direct and or indirect.
Yeah.
Now, in direct democracy, we are talking about the rule of the people by their votes directly. You see, this is impossible. That's why the only possible option you can have is what they call indirect democracy. We are talking about presidential democracy, parliamentary democracy, and all that. We are talking about a system where you can rule the people indirectly, where the people can rule indirectly. In other words, the people have this right to elect their leaders through a due process of election. And when they have elected their leader or their leaders, those leaders become sovereigns. In other words, even though you have sovereignty of the people, you are not doing that through representation. So it's a kind of representative government. And because of that, you can put power into the hands of somebody who will eventually disappoint the people, who eventually fulfill the ambition or purpose of the people. So it is a paradox, and that's why I want to warn, we must be careful about democracy. Even though it is clear that if democracy becomes democratic, a people will always get the leader they deserve.
Yeah.
But what of when it is undemocratic? That's why I said, in democracy, a people can even, in freedom of election and or selection, as it is in Nigeria, elect a dictator or dictators. And you can no longer call that democracy, because the people are no longer involved in what is happening. Somebody has seized the entire power over and against the people. And you see, that's where we need to talk about the issue of leadership and followership in Nigerian democracy. Whether a good people can get a bad leader at all, or whether a bad people can get a good leader, because it doesn't always follow that once people are good, they must get a good leader. See, that's the paradox of democracy, especially in Nigeria. So I will simply say that if you look into what is happening in Nigeria, we cannot really say that democracy is democratic in Nigeria.
Okay.
So you see, the rights of the people are trampled upon.
Yeah.
The issue of tribalism, nepotism, even religion. See, these issues are coming into the kind of democracy we have in Nigeria. And random killing of people by herdsmen and all that. You see, I think the issue of justice in Nigerian democracy is more or less made selective. And when justice is made selective or sectional, it is not only injustice, it is a kind of destruction of justice itself. So I will simply say that, of course, all hope is not lost. And I want our people to be patient with the leaders. They are also human beings. They can make mistakes. But the problem is that when a particular mistake is made every time, and when that mistake becomes a habit, that's when it is worrisome. One becomes worried about that kind of thing. See, because if you make the same mistake every time, then we don't know what we are looking for again in democracy. So like as Nigerians are now about going into election to exercise their most powerful weapon, their votes, it will be good that each person will, for us to get something that is fair and true, each person must go into that with truth. So that at the end of the day, what I said about getting a leader one deserves will at least be somehow proper. Otherwise, of course, if you look at it from the logical point of view, I would say that one can always say that a good people must get a good leader. And who knows again whether a bad people must also get a bad leader. I'm not here to question the leadership here and there, but I want to show that if a people is good and they go into truth and they exercise their voting powers very, very well, especially if there is election, it follows that by that very fact, ipso facto, they must get a good leader.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Father, you mentioned nepotism, you mentioned tribalism, you mentioned sectionalism. Also, there is a favoritism and the religious dichotomy and the fanaticism. If you bring this thing to Nigerian politics, one may ask, what has they done to Nigerian politics?
Of course, you can already see that the results of some of these you have mentioned can never be positive in Nigerian democracy.
You mentioned that some aspect of it anyway.
Nepotism, you are talking about favoring one's family, friends, relatives. in economic and employment strategies.
Yeah.
Like in a particular state in the southeast, the governor there wants to enthrone nepotism there. I thank God people rallied and came together and prevented him from doing that. So the issue of leadership in Nigeria cannot be a family affair. Maybe this is your son, you say, take one local government. This is your wife, take this and that. This, take that. No. Democracy must be based on justice, goodness, truth, and all that. We call these things the transcendental qualities of being, human existence. See, for us to become real human beings, we must be above selfishness. Of course, man is condemned to be a self. But even though one can always be selfish, one can always avoid selfishness. Now, the issue of tribalism, favoring people who come from the same tribe. For instance, there is this book written in Nigeria. I won't quote the author. It's a very controversial author. He wrote a work called Path Towards Nigerian Political Greatness, where he said that one can only be a good citizen of Nigeria if he is, first of all, a good citizen of his tribe. See, that's tribalism. It's terrible. Though tribe and tongue may differ, we are brothers. We are sisters. So the idea of one trying to teach our people that for you to be a good citizen of Nigeria, you must be a good citizen of your tribe.
Father, can we take this call?
It's not good. Let's take this call.
Hello? 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 So, Father, go ahead.
So I want to show that, and that's why we don't really have what I may call a Nigerian cultural identity. Because, see, the identity of the Igbo or the Yoruba or the Hausa can never be Nigerian identity. So for Nigeria to get a cultural identity that is Nigerian, you have to go into these things we call intercultural hermeneutics, so as to generate a common identity. So for one to think that the Hausa culture or identity, or the Yoruba culture or identity, or the Igbo culture or identity can become Nigerian culture and identity. It doesn't follow. Non sequitur. It doesn't follow.
That's what I want to bring in here.
It can never follow.
That's
so let us find a way to come together.
This tribalism aspect, there is something I want to bring in here.
Okay.
Aguiyi died a Nigerian Igbo, trying to be a good Nigerian. Zeke ended up president without executive power. And then Awolowo was a Yoruba Nigerian. He said he succeeded in enthroning imperialism and have placed his people where they wouldn't have been 20 years back, all to the favor of the Yorubas. So don't you think and see that tribalism to some extent should be practiced to some level?
I must tell you that you are going into a very difficult terrain. But you see, I think without going into the roots of whether we all decided to become Nigerians out of agreement, democratic agreement, because I know that never happened. There was no time that we all came together in a round table talk and decided to become Nigerians.
Yes.
So it's like it's a cultural imposition.
Yeah.
It's an imposition from outside. But the only thing I want to say is this, that anytime one wants to become himself or herself, there are forces that can help one to be so. Let me begin with this. Of course, I will not say, first as a philosopher, cannot say that tribalism is completely evil. No. Because, of course, you must be a good citizen of your own tribe. You must be a good one. For instance, why most Igbo politicians or groups are making mistakes today in politics is that they don't even know the Igbo cultural political agenda.
Yeah.
Mmadụ onye n'ime ama ife bụ ọhazurume bunu ibu anyịdanda ka agbakọta fụọ ife oko anyịkọ mamịrị ọnụ ọgba ọfụfụ mmadụ onye ma gbasara ya nọ ikwe bute nne ọgbakọta anyị azụ ya bụ oge elugo oge ndị Igbo bụ ndị na-apụta ka fa nọchite anya anyị maka ife agafe agọtọrọ fa na-apụta ịnọchite anya anyị ya na fa ga-ebu ụzọ gwuozi ezigbote ndị Igbo ọ bụrụ na ụdị nke ịgazi mee ife ọzọ ya na fa abụọ ga-abụ ezigbo ndị Igbo bụ nke izi na fa ga na-asụ Igbo ọfụma amalụfa ya ọmọrụgodo asụsụ befa ga na-asụ Igbo ọfụma na-eyihe akwa ndị Igbo ọfụma malụ umena na ọdana Igbo ọfụma
gozi nnabata n'asụsụ Igbo
ọfancha niile maka na o nwere ụfọdụ ife a na-eme gbasara ndị Igbo taata ma aghọtara a na-asị na ndị Igbo mere nke a ndị Igbo furu ego na ndị ọ bụ asị ka ọ bụ ndụ ọgbara ọfụ a na-egosi ife ndị afọ eji akọtọ ndị Igbo na-afụ ego n'anya ọrụ ndị Igbo tụrụ inu sị na ezi afa ka ego ọ dịghị nke ego ka ezi afa riri o ji ka ego ọ bụ eziokwu ka o riri truth nsọ adọrọzi ya bụ ndị a na-akpagali dịka ndị isi ka a gara ịkpọ afọ n'ofu n'ofu dịka ndị isi Igbo n'ụzọ niile ma ndị na-achịkịta Amerịka chọrọ isi achị n'ụzọ niile esi achị bugodo ụzọ malụgodo eziokwu dịka onye Igbo malụgodo onwe gị dịka onye Igbo ka ndị ọzọ nwee ike fafụ ka isi eme fa aghọta na ịbụ mmadụ ghọta na ịbụ mmadụ. So I will not completely go against tribalism completely, because there is something about that whether you like it or not, you are coming from a tribe. You have a language, you have a culture. But try to put on only the positive aspects of these things that can make for the general welfare and well-being. And don't bring in the negative aspects of that can destroy the people. Especially that can give your own tribe an evil image before the public. Because actually, can we feel one day boku? Because my son etu akandi Igbo si eme mba etu aka ụfọdụ ndị Igbo na-amụrụ nwa si eme. Ndị Igbo na-asọ nsọ, ndị Igbo na-ekwu eziokwu, ndị Igbo maara onwe fa. Ọ nọgbọrọ ofu aka ife ndị na-agasasịrị. Ana odo ofu otu ekunye jee na ofu ebe kwụ n'ofe abụ ndị Igbo. Na ebe aka fakwu. Kedu onye ziri fana? Kedu onye ziri fana? Ọrụ ogologo akpịrị na agbụghalifa. Ife onye Igbo ụmụnne nyere aka n'ụzọ dị iche iche nyere ya aka chọpụtakwutikwo ndụ fa. Oge o buruziri ya ikwe buruziri nne ọgbakọta anyị azụ kama werizie ife afọ asọkwa m ngị ga-were ife mee ife mana ife amalime adịghị okwu ọ dị mkpa ka mmadụ ghọta ife amalime. So I will simply say that we cannot destroy the tribes in Nigeria, both the major ones and the minor ones. It is impossible. They are there. You cannot deny that they are there. But the only thing that will be necessary is for us to That's why I am talking about intercultural hermeneutics. Very important. Without that, we cannot go anywhere.
Can we get this caller? Hello? Hello? Father, please, let's take another message from the sponsor of the program.
Dear child of God, you are welcomed to Hermeneutics of Religion, Culture, and Politics with Very Reverend Father Professor Politricks and Kumen fame of Instant Miracles, Father Founder and Spiritual Director of COMMUNIO SANCTORUM Ministries International, a supremely intelligent genius of Christ, a thoroughgoing Catholic priest, a professor of philosophy, and a respected authority in African and Western metaphysics, logics, theodicy, and mathematical philosophy. Very Reverend Father Professor Politricks is an international professor from the Faculty of Arts, Anambra University, Oka, Director, Igbo Village and Center for African Civilization, UNISIC, the man who is championing the cause of establishing an Igbo University as well as Jesus Christ University. Father Bona is a Catholic priest of Onitsha Archdiocese. He is a seer and a mystic, a polyglot and philanthropist of no mean repute. Come to Very Reverend Father Professor Bona for warfare prayers, sacred exorcisms, stigmatization, transverbation, bilocation, miraculous transportation, levitation, and mystical healings at the sacred ground, a miraculous arena of COMMUNIO SANCTORUM, of divine apparitions, miracles, testimonies, healings, and deliverances. Dear child of God, you are also invited to COMMUNIO SANCTORUM Ministries International on these days as follows. Every Tuesday, consultation from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come for sacramental confession, Most Holy Rosary procession, gospel reading with sermon and homily, devotion to the Sacred Heart of Mary, Angelus, administration. Every Thursday, Sacred Communion from 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Come for sacramental confessions, Most Holy Rosary procession, Good News Bible reading with sermon and homily, devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and Immaculate Heart of Mary, Angelus administration, as well as the Holy Mass. On Saturdays, Communion of the Saints, 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Come for sacramental confession, Most Holy Rosary procession, Gospel reading with sermon and homily, devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and Immaculate Heart of Mary, First Friday/First Saturday, Vigil 6 p.m. till dawn. On First Friday, devotion to the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus. First Saturday, devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Venue, behind Olivia Montage, former Tourist Garden, Aguaka. God bless you.
Yeah, Father, it now boils down to the fact that to some level, somebody working in accordance to the tribe where he comes from, reflecting his tribe. Again, it comes down again to the issue that these tricks at times is important to democracy. I want to bring in Igbenweze. What has Igbenweze done to Igbo political agenda?
Nukute ofia ke bali fa fumana aga memete aka nwobele ka gali nwe ike na anyị fa ịchọrọ ime Igbo enweze apụtara na Igbo enwere eze mana pụtara na eze Igbo bụ eziokwu bụ Chukwu ọ ya pụtara abịa na ani Igbo o nwere oge anyị ekwu gbasara ka ndị Igbo si welo pụta ka ha si wee kuni ụzọ dị iche iche iti aka ifere ke na nri ndị eze egwu afa na bụ ọnọdụ apụta ozugbo iti aka ifere ke na agụgụleri tiwa ka na arọchukwu ebe ndị Igbo nwere eze kama na ọ bụ nke m na ndị Igbo niile pụtara ndị anwa eze ndị anwa eze ndị anwa eze ndị achọba oge ọgatọkọ bịara nnukwu ogbo oge ndị ọcha bịara wee wetakwazie ife mmadụ amarọ the warrant chiefs oge fa hotel nke afọ so ọgatọkọ ọtụtụ ife eji bido na-ekwu ma ọ ga-abụ igwe ka ọ ga-abụ eze ka ọ ga-abụ nke a ka ọ ga-abụ nke ọzọ mana ife m chọrọ ịkọwa bụ na abịa n'ihe gbasara ọhazuru m Igbo ka afa na-akpọ ha krasi ndị na-etinye na etu ndị ọzọ abịa ihe na-akpọ ọhazuru m Igbo ife ọ pụtara bụ ọ dịkwazie etu anaghị ihe gbasara ndị isi obodo ya bụ na onwe ife a ga-eme na ndị Igbo niile zugbe ga-eme gịnị ga-apụta apụta anyụkọ mamịrị ọnụ o wee gbaa ọfụfụ apụta eji nwayọọ were tụọ alụ tụkọta alụ ọnụ ya bụ na etu ị ga-esi kọwa ya bụ na o nwere ofu osisi ada eme gịnị ọfịa ofu onye kọ ọha bụ onye ala ka ọ bụ n'ala Igbo aka m ga-aba na etu esi wee nwedo wee pụta ife ahụ kasị etu ndị ọcha si bịa gasa ife ahụ n'ụzọ dị iche iche. What I want to say concerning the Igbo heroes of the past, you have talked about. There was a time we honored them in our Hazume lecture in Evakak, in the Igbo village, Unizik. So many of them, Michael Obala, Power Mike, Chino Achabe, Dimo Ojuku, Nandazkiwe, and all that. These are heroes of the past, are unique in a particular sense, that they believed in core Igbo values. And they believed in exporting the core Igbo values to world civilization. Of course, some of them made mistakes because of that. Because when you take a brother as a brother, and at the end of the day, he's not your brother, he will betray you. I have said that an enemy can never betray you. It's only a friend that can betray you. Oge na mmadụ na-asị na mmadụ lapụta ma onye ọ tụkwasịrị obi onye ọ na-ata na-abụ n'obi tazi bụọ ya n'anya.
Na-akụ ebe nsi apụta fada. Ọ pụta obie one of obodo dị otu a nwoke na ọkọsa bụ unu ka ị na-azọ ọpụta obie apụ igeje Abuja ofu onye Igbo ekwuo okwu nata asị na ike okwu gbasara ya
ife aka nne
mgbe ike mba nọ ndụ enwezighị ndị na-agba ya mgba nke a Nnamdị Kanụ na-ekwu weda ma ọ bụ eziokwu ma ọ bụ eziokwu ndị na-agba ya mgba karịa nụnụ
ofu ụgwọ anyị ka na-ekwu achọrọ m imetụ aka nnukwu na ihe gbasara Igbo enwezigosiri na ọha bụ eze ọha bụ eze Igbo gburugburu ya na ofu osisi agara eme ọfịa na Igbo otu onye ka ndị Igbo bụ onye ara ka ọ bụrụ onye Igbo ka ọ bụ Igbo na-emekọta ife ọnụ.
This is pure Igbo philosophy.
Bunu Igbo anyị danda. Onye kpata ejikwu na agbakọ ọkwa nwa n'onunu ọ gaghị awa n'afa. Mana ọfọ ka eji aga. Ya ọ dịrọzi. Onye oge m kwelesị otu dị etu a anyị masị ndị fa bụ gbago na Abuja ekwuosi na ndị Igbo ekwugo. Nso ọ bụrụ anyị zigara fa zigara onwe fa. Ogologo akpịrị na-ebugharị fa. So I must make it clear that we need to go back to core Igbo cultural principles so as to maintain the Igbo identity. And if we start in time, you see that this enigma you call Igbo presidency will still come about. The people must first of all respect us as Igbo people. And the core Igbo values of truth, of love, hospitality, we must bring them out at a stainless and spotless level so that people will trust us. Ya bụ aja afọ a na-akpọ ndị Igbo maka ndị ogologo akpịrị na-agbaghalị ebe dị iche iche. Ogologo ọ ga-akwụsị. I must conclude by saying, anytime you are talking about Nigerian cultural identity, I thank God the way you said that Nigerian Igbo, there's not like Nigerian Igbo. See, that goes back again to the roots of whether we came together with a consensus at them to decide to become Nigerians. But I will encourage not only the Igbo people, if you are an Hausa or a Yoruba or Igbo or any of the minorities, the time has come for you to use your most powerful weapon, your votes. Because the democracy is only a system of government whereby people decide who will rule them. Even though there is the paradox again of whether there will be election or selection. That's a different ballgame altogether. But by election, people can decide the person or persons that must represent them. That's indirect democracy, because direct democracy is impossible. That's the paradox of democracy. Because the people at once and as a group cannot rule. They must appoint a sovereign with their votes. So whether you are an Hausa or a Yoruba or an Igbo, any of the minorities, the time has come for you to make use of your most important weapon. To do what? To decide the person who will lead you, or the persons who will go into various positions. So it will be good for you to use that very well. Because if you don't do that, what will happen is that something you have not budgeted for will come up. That's the irony of defining democracy as a people having the freedom to elect their own dictator. So, if you did not exercise your voting power,
yeah. Father, for want of time, the Nigerian political machine is simply moving to unknown direction. Let me put it that way. And then, what do you think is the major factor that is clogging the wheel of political progress in Nigeria?
I will answer this question most profoundly. I want to establish both for now and forevermore that the greatest problem and or problems in Nigerian democracy or in democracy in Nigeria can come to two major things. Bad leadership as well as bad followership. You can take it. Crap followership.
Hello? Hello? Hello, yeah, your name and location?
Hello?
Hello, we are hearing you. What's your name and where you are calling from? Go ahead, Father.
We've lost that. Because most of the time we blame the leaders. Let's all blame ourselves. Of course, it's a kind of consensus that most Nigerians believe that we have bad leadership. But then the other part of it, they miss the other part of it.
The electorate.
That kind of thing. So I will say, if we have a bad leader, but we have a good followership, in other words, there's a bad leadership, you have a good followership, you see, you can correct the bad leadership, or at least change it by that voting power.
Let's know if we can get this caller. Go ahead, Father. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But supposing we have a good leader, also bad citizens,
it does happen.
That's why there is indeed we need to go into the hermeneutics of this idea, whether a good people can always get a good leader or get good leaders. I will say it doesn't follow always. That's why I am talking about various tribes and tongues coming out with the core positive values of their respective cultures and identities to decide what will happen over them, who becomes a sovereign over them. Because as I said, you can make a mistake and you can choose somebody who will eventually become nobody.
Okay, let's take another message from the sponsor of this program.
Dear child of God, you're welcomed to Hermeneutics of Religion, Culture, and Politics with Very Reverend Father Professor Bonakrisus Anambra and Kumen Fame of Instant Miracles, Father Founder and Spiritual Director of COMMUNIO SANCTORUM Ministries International, a supremely intelligent genius of Christ, a thoroughgoing Catholic priest, a professor of philosophy, and a respected authority in African and Western metaphysics, logics, theodicy, and mathematical philosophy. Very Reverend Father Professor Bonakrisus Anambra is an international professor from the Faculty of Arts, Anambra University, Oka, Director, Igbo Village and Center for African Civilization, UNISIC, the man who is championing the cause of establishing an Igbo University as well as Jesus Christ University. Father Bona is a Catholic priest of Onitsha Archdiocese. He is a seer and a mystic, a polyglot and philanthropist of no mean repute. Come to Very Reverend Father Professor Bonakrisus Anambra for warfare prayers, sacred exorcisms, stigmatization, transverbation, bilocation, miraculous transportation, levitation, and mystical healings at the sacred ground and miraculous arena of COMMUNIO SANCTORUM of divine apparitions, miracles, testimonies, healings, and deliverances. Dear child of God, you are also invited to COMMUNIO SANCTORUM Ministries International on these days as follows. Every Tuesday, consultation from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come for sacramental confession, Most Holy Rosary procession, gospel reading with sermon and homily, devotion to the Sacred Heart of Mary, Angelus, administration. Every Thursday, Sacred Communion from 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Come for sacramental confessions, Most Holy Rosary procession, Good News Bible reading with sermon and homily, devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and Immaculate Heart of Mary, Angelus administration, as well as the Holy Mass. On Saturdays, Communion of the Saints, 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Come for sacramental confession, Most Holy Rosary procession, Gospel reading with sermon and homily, devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and Immaculate Heart of Mary, First Friday / First Saturday, Vigil 6 p.m. till dawn. On First Friday, devotion to the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus. First Saturday, devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Venue, behind Olivia Montage, former Tourist Garden, Aguaka. God bless you.
Thank you very much, dear esteemed viewer. This is where we draw the curtain in our today's edition of the Hermeneutics of Culture, Religion, and Politics. The topic has been Politricks of Democracy in Nigeria, and I think we are coming back with another cut of it, and it has been Very Reverend Father Professor Bonakrisus Anambra. And Kumen Fame of Instant Miracle, people are still calling us, but it's unfortunate. We have just come to the climax of our time. Father Bona, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
So, Father, I think we are coming back with another cut of this very topic.
We have still many things to say.
Okay.
We are not even talked about anything at all.
Okay. So, until next week, we are coming back with cut 2 of this very topic, Politics of Democracy in Nigeria, cut 2. Jude Mascot Obiagu is my name. Thank you very much for being part of it. Good day.